I saw your Jubilee video.
Oh, I've got a story about that. I should tell you, just so everybody knows. I haven't told this. God only knows if we're creating an electronic environment that will be fundamentally inhabited by autonomous electronic life forms that have virtually nothing to do with us.
A lot of these OnlyFans women sleeping with 500 men in one night, their parents are on board.
It's an abomination.
It's literally an abomination. When the worst of all possible things is elevated to the highest possible place, you know that destruction is coming.
Why is it that when people ask you if you're a Christian, you don't really answer it?
But what do you think? You're watching?
My perspective is that
I'm just playing, I don't fight, I do pray. I only go the way of mistake.
That's lovely, George. I love it. It's a real gift to be around.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's a very good question.
I love you guys. You've given me something to think about for a while.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the George Janko Show. Today we have an incredible guest. His name is Dr. Jordan Peterson, and we're going to be going over a lot of topics that a lot of people have been curious about. His Jubilee video and appearance, how he feels about where the government's moving, his fear for the future, and his deep, deep beliefs and his processing. Thank you guys for watching. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode with Dr. Jordan Peterson. By the way, I've never seen anybody sit so perfect right away. Like usually they adjust, like they got a pillow, they're like fixing the mic. He just sits down in his little cute boots and he's like perfect. He's ready to go. He's just ready to rock.
These aren't cute. They're dangerous. They're dangerous.
Did you start wearing these because you're from Arizona now?
No, I'm from Alberta.
And they have boots there too?
They definitely do. Yes.
Where's Alberta?
It's the province one removed from the coast. So British Columbia is on the coast, then Alberta.
Well, okay, I got to do an intro. But
Yep.
before I do an intro, I owe you an apology.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's very few times I ever watch back an episode and I can't even watch it because I get so uncomfortable. And our last episode was so humiliating. I was so nervous to have an episode with you. I think I like somehow made it like a psychiatrist meeting, like with me and my wife. And I'm like, but it wasn't even about you, and it should have been about you. And I flew all the way there. And so thank you for giving me the opportunity to re-interview you on our podcast, because I thought it was a great episode, but I also got so carried away. And I really appreciate you coming back on, and I apologize for that.
No problem.
Okay, amazing.
Seriously, don't give it a second thought.
Oh, okay, appreciate it. Well, welcome back.
I wasn't carrying around what would you say, any resentment or irritation.
Good.
You know, podcasts go all sorts of ways. And I mean, you took the risk. It's your podcast. So I never gave it a second thought.
The comments now are like, you should have just left it at that one. It goes back at that. All right, welcome back, guys. I am here with Dr. Jordan Peterson. And if you guys do not know who this man is, he is a man who will make you think and then rethink and then think about what you just rethought. Before I even get started, the one question that I had, because I just been watching you like pretty consistently. I mean, we even on our show promoted the gospels that you've been promoting and the schooling that you've kind of mastered and put out to compete with real colleges nowadays. My one question is, do you have problems when it comes to overthinking? Like, do you ever get so caught up in your mind that while you're trying to help these other neighbors of yours, parenting in ways or in ways that could help them in schooling, but do you ever get into your own head? Because the way that I've ever seen myself get anxious or depressed is when I overthink. And I would assume I'm wise, but then my own thoughts kind of like tear myself apart. You being so wise and having a deep thought to every question, do you battle that with yourself as well? Do you sit there and does it ever get exhausting thinking?
Oh, definitely.
What do you do to balance that?
Well, I suppose it was particularly intense when I was younger in graduate school. Like I was thinking nonstop, 16, 17 hours a day at the same rate that Ben Shapiro speaks. And the only thing, two things would shut it off to some degree: alcohol, which I enjoyed quite a lot, and weightlifting. But other than that, it was just nonstop.
I think this is why I smoke marijuana, so it kind of turned my brain off from thinking at night, so I could help sleep. That's why I started smoking. How did you? That's a deep hole, Because now I'm always sitting here thinking like, okay, I need marijuana to help me shut my brain off at night because I think too much and I'll just stare up at the ceiling. But I've been gradually separating myself from it because I know it's not healthy, and I'm trying to substitute it with working out, eating clean, reading the gospel. Is that helping? Tremendously. But there's an effect that alcohol does and marijuana does that is instantaneous. How did you maneuver? It's kind of like a Band-Aid that you're putting over a wound. It's not healing it, but it's a Band-Aid. How did you get over putting the Band-Aid on you when you were drinking? Like, what was your steps of getting away from alcohol?
Well, I noticed, I mean, I came from a rural town, and drinking was the national sport there. And when I went to graduate school, there was a level of professionalism that became increasingly demanded. And it was also the case that if I was suffering the ill consequences of a night out, let's say, that I couldn't work effectively. And my work and my professional conduct became increasingly important to me. And I realized when I was about 26 or so that pretty much the only time that I had regrets about my conduct was in the aftermath of a drinking episode. I had a very active social life, but I just got tired of that. And then when I established a permanent relationship with Tammy, and we also thought about having kids, I thought, well, there's no way I'm not going to be intoxicated around my kids. So it was just, and this is a pretty standard pattern for men. You know, once they adopt responsibility, they tend to straighten out their behavior.
So it's a common thing.
Yeah. Did it help with the chronic high-speed thinking? Not really. I mean, that's a temperamental attribute. I'm very verbally fluent, and so verbal fluency is a measure of the number of words you can produce in a given amount of time. There's immense individual difference in verbal fluency. And I'm very verbally fluent, and one of the consequences of that is that I think in words all the time. Now, there's huge advantages to that, obviously. That's what allows me to write. And I suppose I also channeled that. I started writing seriously when I was 23, something like that.
So you were still drinking at the time when you were writing?
Yeah.
Did that ever get in the way?
To stop. Yeah, definitely. Well, it particularly got in the way. It got in the way for two reasons. The material that I was dealing with was extremely complex and very emotionally demanding. And so if I was suffering from the consequences of drinking, which takes 3 days to recover from an episode of drinking. You're in alcohol withdrawal for 3 days. So if you drink twice a week, you are always in alcohol withdrawal, and that heightens anxiety. And so the material I was dealing with was already making me plenty anxious without having any chemical addition. And then I also lost the ability to make fine distinctions, which you need to do if you're editing. So, and I'm a careful editor. I test all the sentences that I put down to see if they're fireproof. And to do that, especially as you progress towards a completed document, you have to be able to make fine judgments, and any impairment interferes with that. And so I would edit for hours and make it worse. Well, that's not helpful. And so at some point, you have to decide if you're serious about things. And if you're not, then you're not doing anything of sufficient worth. That's the rule. And if you are doing something of sufficient worth, then you let go of the things that interfere with it. I can give you an example of that. People will comment about this, I suspect, because there's a substantial minority of people who get irritated at me for making biblical references, but I've been studying the Bible a lot in recent years. I mean, I've been doing it for 20 years or 40 years, I guess, 40 years. And so in the story of Cain and Abel, which is like 2 paragraphs long,